Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 89 of Serenova Crafts. It is Wednesday, September 27th, 2016, and I'm your host, Jessica. You can find me as Serenova on Ravelry and Twitter, and as Serenova Crafts on Instagram and Twitch, even though I haven't done anything there yet. You can find the show notes for today's episode on my blog or in the Ravelry group. I forgot to do show notes last week. I'm very sorry about that. Likes, subscribes, comments are all appreciated. Feel free to ask me any questions. I have an AMA thread in my Ravelry group, though it hasn't been active in a while, but don't feel bad resurrecting it if you have any questions, or comment if you have anything or want to know about what I've talked about. Like I said, I actually kind of totally forgot to do show notes last week. I was really out of it last week for some reason. Didn't have a lot of knitting mojo, didn't have a lot of mojo to do just about anything. So, it's kind of a miracle I got the podcast recorded and out in the first place. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've been working on the past week and what I've been doing and what I'm up to, and I'm going to start right off and say I got some bad news. I'm not going to Vermont Sheep and Wool this weekend. I don't have the funds to do it. I got a job, but I haven't started it yet, so, the tank of gas and the food to go up there is just a little too much for me at the moment. I don't normally talk about stuff like this, but, I said I would go, and then I'm not going, so, I'm sorry. I feel really bad about this, but I wanted to go, and then it just wasn't gonna happen, unfortunately. So, but I am still going to Rhinebeck. And the high holidays are coming. The high holidays are actually start Sunday night this coming week. I will have an episode next week, fine. VKN next week, fine. VKN tomorrow night, cool. But 2 weeks from now, on October 12th, there won't be an episode. I might record the 13th of October, which is a Thursday, which is the day before I leave for Rhinebeck, or I might just skip that week entirely, depending on what my work schedule is. Because what it is that Yom Kippur falls on a Wednesday, and Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah are our biggest holidays in the Jewish calendar, and so I'm not going to record on Yom Kippur. So I might just skip that week. I'll record next week, but I might skip the week after. There will still be a VKN on Thursday night that week, no matter what happens, but I'm just not sure about getting an actual episode out with the holiday. So I think that's everything I needed for news and updates and keeping you all in the know. And I feel really bad about not doing show notes last week. I'm going to do show notes this week before I upload this. Actually, I'm recording on my phone because I didn't feel like getting my laptop all set up, because I moved my laptop from where it was in the second bedroom, which is where I normally record. And I'm sitting in our dining room on my phone because I'm just too lazy to go get the good camera, and my phone camera can record just as well as the nice webcam I bought, so screw it. I'm in the dining room. I know, it's a different background. I move around a little bit. I'll sit in the living room, I'll sit in the dining room, I'll sit in the second bedroom, which isn't really a bedroom. We're using it more like a den or office. But anyways, on to knitting and other stuff. Well, other stuff, yeah. I'll talk about the other stuff at the end. So, knitting-wise, worked on two things the past week. I actually made some really, really good progress on my stonecutter. So here it is. I have basically doubled it in size since you last saw it. So here it is. So here's where I was. You can see how much I've added. And, as you can see, ooh, the cables show up really nice in this lighting. Ooh, look at those cables. Those look good. I finished the setup chart, which went to about here, where my fingers are. That was the setup chart. Now I've started the main body chart. This is the front piece. I've already finished the back piece. So, hopefully by the time you see this next week, I will have cast on the sleeves, which I'm going to do 2 at a time, because it just makes my life easier, and that way they both come out the same size. Yeah. So, that is the progress on my stonecutter. Now, the other thing I knit on, and I knit on this actually while I was out and about this past weekend, so I went to the Renaissance Fair, was my Trillion, which, if I can get organized here, will hold up. Alright. Yeah, my phone's down. I'm looking at a downward angle, so I'm trying not to let my face be in too much shadow, but unless I sit like this, and then I'm not really looking at you, Alright. So you can see where the marker is. You can see how much progress I've made. That's a good amount of progress. I actually finished the first skein of yarn. I'm on to the second skein of yarn. And this is getting to be a decent size. So here's where I added the second skein in. So you can see I haven't done much of the second skein yet, but it's a decent size. It's going to be really big when it's done. It's going to be long. So it's going to be almost scarf-like in its size, which is totally fine by me. As long as I can wrap it a couple of times around my neck, I'm not too worried. There is some color difference between the first and the second skeins, even though they're the same color from the same dye lot. But I'm not going to worry enough about it. I mean, sometimes, like, if it was a sweater or something, I totally would have alternated skeins for, like, the whole thing to make sure the colors blended. But on this, I don't mind if there's a little bit of a line. And you can kind of see it. Kind of see where the colors change drastically, like, in here. But I'm not too worried about it. It's going to be a shawl. It's going to be wrapped around my neck. Nobody's really going to notice. Anyways, so now I'm going to move my marker because I have recorded and shown it to you. And, yeah, that's it for knitting. But I did get some interesting looks on this project over the weekend, my Trillion, because we went to King Richard's Renaissance Fair in Carver, Mass. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera because I'm putting in the stitch marker. There we go. And we had a grand old time. 7 of us went. Kevin and I and 2 other couples and then a single friend all went. And we had a blast walking around. We got lucky. It was a cool day. It was only about between 60 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't ask me what the Celsius conversion is. I don't know off the top of my head. But we had a really good time, and it was really nice. And we got there a little later than we'd wanted because there was some mess up with when people thought they were supposed to arrive. But, you know, people get times wrong. Fact of life. It happens. So we got there, and then we immediately went to go see the Big Cat Show. And it wasn't actually just big cats this year. It was... they had 2 smaller cats. They had a serval and some small, like, 5-pound jungle cat from the Amazon. And then they had a panther, and, like, they had a variety of cats. So it was wild cats as opposed to big cats, because there's only 7 species of big cats. Of course, there's various subspecies thereof, but there's 7 species of big cats. But it was funny because the woman presenting the show was talking up this one cat from the Amazon. And she's going, it's a top predator, its size, blah, blah, blah. Just talking, we're going to expect some, 200-pound beast to walk out, right? Well, the guy helping her, who's bringing out the cats, walks out holding this tiny little cat in his hands like this, And the entire audience just went, oh, like, all at once in unison, because she'd been talking this animal up into being this big hunter and really good at what it does. And it is a really good hunter, but it's a niche hunter, right? It goes after birds. But, it was just really funny because we were expecting this big, huge cat, and we got this 4-pound little cute thing. So, that was really good. There was a fishing cat. The little one I can't remember the name of. I'll look it up and try to remember to put in the show notes, but I might not remember. Then there was the panther. There was a white Bengal tiger. Then there was the serval, which is actually what cat breeders use to create a Savannah breed of house cat. They crossed the serval, which is an African wildcat, with American house cats, like with domesticated house cats, to get the Savannah. So Savannahs are in a tricky legal area as a cat breed, at least in the U.S., because, well, they're half wildcat, half domestic cat, so what do we class them as? Are they classified as a wild animal, which means you can't own them in some states, or are they classified as a pet, which means you can own them, right? So there's some legal gray area with them, but they're a very interesting breed. If you look them up, they're very interesting to look up. So anyways, after we saw the cats, we went and went and saw Jacques the Whip Bear, who, his show is clean, but not. So it's kid friendly. So there isn't any language that would get parents offended. However, there's a lot of innuendo and a lot of jokes that are meant to go over children's heads. So it's kind of like Who's Line, where, like, whatever they're doing is funny, but sometimes the stuff they say, if you don't get the reference, you're just like, what? Why is that funny? But if you get the reference, it's hilarious, right? So his entire show is all, like, innuendo. And he has this line that he's said every single time we've seen him where it's like, parents, if your children get the jokes, I blame you, right? So it's one of those things where, like, a kid shouldn't necessarily understand the joke yet, right? So, but if you're an adult, he's hilarious. And we've seen him every year. He's really good, and he's very entertaining. And then we just wandered a bit because there was shopping. I didn't do any shopping because I'm broke. I'm not going to Vermont cheap and well because I'm broke. I didn't do any shopping at King Richard's. I did get one souvenir, but that's because I'm making a collection of these, and I'll just show it to you. I'm making a collection of the yearly mugs, and so this is the one thing I bought because I wanted the mug. So there it is. You can see the my camera will focus. You can see it says, 1982 to 2016 King Richard's Fair, and it is in this was the 35th anniversary. They're in Carver, Mass. So it's fun. This it's really nice. It's really deep. I mean, it's I can stick my hand in it. It's pretty deep. These are all hand done. I got number 100 out of 348. Gray Fox Pottery. I'll have to look them up. See if this is microwave or dishwasher safe. But I have a collection of mugs that I've been getting them, or at least something with the year on it, every year since I started going. So this is the one thing I got because I'm making a collection of them. So this is the one thing. It's a nice pint glass. Like I want like a, even though I don't drink beer, I want like a big foaming head of beer in this because it's just that kind of mug. I'll stick to tea or something because I'm not a beer person. It's the only souvenir I got. But we walked around and like other friends did shopping and we walked around in groups. And then and we caught a few like snippets of other shows we walked around. We did go see the Bard of Carvershire, which I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but he was very good. He actually came over and gave us a small performance because the three of us were just sitting there waiting for the show to begin, and we were the only people there. So he came over and started sitting in front of us and talking to us, and it was a much more friendly interaction. It was much less impersonal than like the big shows where they're performing to a crowd. I mean, eventually the whole thing filled up and he had to get back on stage. He's like, yeah, I don't want to get back on stage, But he was actually really good at what he did. Singing songs, and he was like a bard. It was very interesting. And then finally we watched the joust at the end of the day, because that's always fun. I mean, and they're all actors, so nobody actually gets hurt, but it's the joust to the death. Of course, nobody actually dies, because they're all actors. But it's still really fun to watch. I didn't take a lot of pictures this year, mainly because I have so many pictures from previous years, and they basically all look the same after a while. But I do have pictures of the cats and of Jacques, so I will put those in at the end. I also have a video of Jacques I will add as well. With his fire whip. That's always good. But the joust is always fun, and actually this year somebody gave the guy we were rooting for, because who you root for depends on what corner of the tourney field you sit in. And usually, they only pretend to chug a thing of beer, because they usually just chug water, because, they need to stay hydrated all day, right? But somebody actually gave up their beer for the guy to chug. He was like, really? You sure? So finally he chugged it, and then, so that was fun. But, we were in costume. I'll put a picture of Kevin and I in at the end as well. But, yeah, this is a quick episode for you folks, but I've made a lot of progress on my stonecutter. I've made a lot of progress on my trillion, mainly because the stonecutter is not portable, but the trillion is. So, when I'm not knitting at home, I'm knitting on trillion right now. When I am home, I'm working on stonecutter. I actually did a good chunk of that last night, but because I was so tired over the weekend after Sunday. I was like dead to the world. I was so tired on Sunday. But anyways, I'm going to call it VKN tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everyone is invited. Even if I don't link you on Rav, you are welcome to come and join in. My Thursday night VKN is normally not crowded at all, so you should be able to get a spot if you want to come. So I look forward to seeing you there, and have a good week, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye!
and I'm a little scared of it. But I know that the people love this trick, and audience, I am a man of the people. You could say that I'm the people's champ.
Oh my!
Some of you may be questioning whether or not I am the people's champ. Are you questioning if I'm the people's champ? No! It doesn't matter if you question that I'm the people's champ. It doesn't matter what the Jacques is cooking.
Yeah!
Here we go. The crack, the flip, the catch, the applause. And last but not least, audience, your stupidest trick that I do. Please, people, give me money. That's all right. We're gonna do better. I'm screaming on the inside.
Do it!
We got a little bit, we got a hip.
Just the tip.
Shut up, kid.